Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Insider Gaming Weekly, a video game podcast. I am, of course, as always, Mike Straw, one of the senior editors here at Insider Gaming, and I'm joined by the one and only co-senior editor of Insider Gaming, Grant Taylor Hill, and senior producer. You know him, you love him. He's got the voice of an angel. A to the P, Albert Perkins. Guys, how are you today?
Very good, Michael. Very good. It's calmed down a bit. There haven't been so much dramatic news this week, which means less fun in games for us. But it's been good. Not too bad.
Yeah, things have definitely slowed down a bit here this week. Should make for an interesting episode. I think we'll do quite well though. And man, it's just been a long week at work for me as well. So I'm ready to get into some gaming talk. That's for sure. Let's get into it.
Before we get into it, as always, make sure you subscribe here wherever you get your favorite shows. You can follow, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. We are literally everywhere. Every week I add us to a new platform. So if you think you can find us, we are there. Leave us a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps grow. You can also contact us directly with your comments on the show at podcast@insider-gaming.com. But we need to jump right into the talk of the town. What everybody wants to know every single episode. At least that's what I like to believe. What are you guys playing? What's got the gaming itch? What's got your brain?
AP, you want to jump in?
Oh, I'm going first this week. I'm switching it up a little bit, huh? Well, for me, it's actually status quo. I'm still playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I made a lot of progress over the past week. I'm now in Chapter 5. The story is really picking up, and I have a feeling I'm going to be stuck on this boss for quite some time here. So going to be diving into some other games that I've been playing as well. Of course, still playing College Football 25, still playing that, as well as, playing a lot of Super Mario Party Jamboree in between that as well with my wife, having a good time with that. She gets so upset whenever we play that game sometimes, you guys. Like, if I'll steal a star, like if I get on a boost spot and I steal a star, she gets so pissed.
I don't play video games much with my wife anymore. She says she's not like this. She's like, I don't do that anymore, but she's the sorest loser you'll ever be. And it got to the point where, because I'm a sore winner, like I'm a jerk, I'll intentionally let her get a lead in like Mario Kart, get all the way back, wait until I get a blue shell, and just wreck it. Just know I'm getting in a fight that night. So I just stopped.
Oh man, that's so mean-spirited.
I used to troll the ever-loving hell out of my wife. We'd play GTA Online, right? And she'd have this thing. She hated it so much. I was a higher level than her, so I don't know if you guys have played. You know, there's this character Lester. He does a bunch of
the
stuff for you.
heists.
Yeah, well, in GTA Online, he's kind of like a resource. He'll get rid of the police for you and things like that. But one thing that he can do is for 60 seconds, he'll remove you from everyone's minimap. So I would troll my wife to no end. We'd be like having a little play fight or something, and I'd call what's his name, Lester, get myself removed from the minimap, and she'd never see me coming. So I just like take her out, just like come screaming up in a car and just take her out. She'd never see it coming. She hated it every time because she'd see me blink off the minimap and it'd be like, oh, you've called him again. Oh, I love it, man. But you know what, AP, going back to the Final Fantasy thing, you're a tougher man than I, because when you talk about being stuck on a boss, that kind of thing for me is game ending. Honestly, if I get stuck on a boss character and I just can't do it, I will probably give it like 3 solid tries, and then I'm like, I'm hanging up my hat. I can't. I'm never going to get past this point. It was
put it right on the backlog from there.
I absolutely do. Stellar Blade, for example. I've talked about that a few times. I knew about the final boss because I'd read about the final boss, and I read about how tough it was, and it stopped me completing that. I didn't even face him. It just stopped me completing the game because I was in anticipation of not wanting to get there and rage quit. So I was like, if I don't ever face him, I can't ever lose against him. So I just never finished the game. But I did go back and I beat him on my second attempt. So
that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Yeah, second try.
It depends on the game for me. It depends on the game. Certain games I can be stuck on a boss forever. I'll keep coming back to. Others, if I'm not feeling it, like Elden Ring. Admittedly, I can't remember the boss. I got stuck, never went back to. But Dark Souls, I like the lore of Dark Souls, the world better. So Dark Souls 2 and 3, I'd get stuck and I'd take a break for like a few days and then I'd come back. So it depends. It depends on it.
Yeah. But talking about games for me this week, so there's a few bits that I've put online actually on insidergaming.com and Insider Gaming's YouTube channel. We did a review. Sorry, I did a review for Bloom and Rage, Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which was my game for a couple of days. It wasn't too long. We're talking about 7 or 8 hours because it's an episodic thing. But that was great. I'm a huge Life is Strange fan, and I kind of maintained that Bloom and Rage feels like Life is Strange 3. It's Don't Nod who created Life is Strange in 2015, and they went on to do Life is Strange 2, but then they split, and then it was Deck 9 that picked up the games, including the most recent one, which was Double Exposure. But Bloom and Rage is really good. It's like a retro nostalgia trip where half the game is set in 1995 and the other half is set in 2022. But the 1995 bit is so riddled with nostalgia. It just made me feel like a kid again. It was crazy. And it was, it touched on all the themes that Don't Nod games do. And, it's full of teenage angst and things like that, because they always are. Like Life is Strange was the same. But the acting was great. Visuals were really nice. The story was great, some big twists. So it's all in the review. I had a great time playing that. And then I also dipped into Avowed for a couple of hours just to see what the crack was with that. And I'm, middle of the road with it at the moment. It's not taking me, by surprise in any way, shape, or form. I got a couple of flaws that I found that I'm not really too keen on. But it's good. It's good enough. So we'll see where it goes. I'll give it the time of day and see where it goes, because it's the next big thing right now, on the market. So we'll see.
I loaded up Avowed last night for the first time. I spent 2.5 hours creating my initial character, and then I went to bed.
Do you have mushrooms? Do you have mushrooms and everything?
I'll share it later. My character,
okay.
when I load it back up, it's a nightmare. It is absolute nightmare fuel. But that's what I like to do. I like to make the most obnoxious for my main run, because every time I play, it's hard for me when it looks ridiculous. It's hard for me to get mad at a game, because every time I look at my character, then I laugh. So it like mentally plays a trick on me. But you know what I have been playing, Grant? I have been playing the campaign from Delta Force Black Hawk Down.
Oh, man.
See, you know how?
Nice.
How?
Delta Force Black Hawk Down. The original Delta Force Black Hawk
Down. Wow. What's that, like 20 years old?
Yeah,
2000. Hold on, I'll tell you. 2009.
Man.
Wow.
So, but it comes with Team Saber, the expansion, and I've been back into this because, they talked about it. I said, you know what? I still have all my Delta Force games because it was my favorite first-person shooter as a kid, right up there with Medal of Honor.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought it'd be funny to play this and go, and now I'm going to, when that drops, the day this episode airs, on the 21st, I will dive into the campaign and be that guy going, well, it didn't really have the same feel as the original, and just be that annoying jerk and get banned from a subreddit or something. But no, I've been playing. I dove back into this for some weird reason, playing a lot of Slay the Spire, getting into Avowed, and then playing a game that I have a review coming up on the 25th. So it's after we record, but before the next episode. So it will be live at insider-gaming.com. So we know what we're playing, but we have other things to talk about. It's not been the most hectic news of the week comparatively to what we've had. Last week we were talking about state of play, and we were going off about the fact, Sony has a communication problem when PSN went down. This week, not so much, but we're going to dive into it anyway, because we're going to kick things off with the news of the week, with Rainbow Six Siege X being revealed at the 6 last weekend. It's not Rainbow Six 2. Yeah. More like Rainbow Six 1.5. Grant, I'm going to let you lead the way on this because you are the esports lead here. We get why Ubisoft would do something like this, but what has been the feedback that you've seen, or the reaction to seeing Rainbow Six Siege X be revealed?
I mean, first off, the event they announced it at last weekend, the 6th Invitational, went off really well. It always does. This is one of the single biggest esports tournaments in the business right now. You're talking like $3 million prize pool. The accessibility is off the charts. Like, one of the big talking points was that 2 orgless teams made it into the final stages, which means they're not backed by some big organization, like your Optic or your Cloud9 or your Vitality or whoever you want to say, or FaZe or whatever. So they made it really far in, which is cool because it's such a testament to the accessibility of Rainbow Six. And that's something that there's an interview on Insider Gaming now, which we did in partnership with Gaming World Media and Ubisoft's. I think he's the global VP of esports, said that this is what we want, because if you don't have this influx of new talent coming in, this unexpected talent, then an esports game will die, which is very true. But the reveal was great. You had Alex Kapasis and Josh Mills come up on the stage. Josh Mills got visibly emotional when they showed the trailer because, these guys have worked on this game, some of them since it came around, since before. They've worked on Rainbow for decades, but Rainbow Six Siege has now been out for 10 years this year, and they're showing their year 10 season 1 trailer, and the guy gets a little bit teary, which is great, which we like to see that. We like to see them humanized and show that they have the passion for their product.
Absolutely.
But then you had the big reveal, which everyone thought was going to be Rainbow Six Siege 2, and it was never confirmed nor denied beforehand. We tried getting something out of Ubi, and they were like, we're not saying a word. And then that was all nipped in the bud because they said, nope, this is not Siege 2. This is a complete evolution of Siege. This is Siege X. They're taking everything. They're taking the operating model. They're taking I think they said we've got the graphical and audio upgrades, the game feel. There's going to be like new ways to play the game. And then they said that this has been in development for 3 years, which is crazy because it was 3 years and no one knew about it, right? Not even Tom Henderson. this, and you know what? I was speaking to one of the senior esports guys at Ubi, and they were saying the team felt really proud of the fact that nothing leaked and everything stayed behind closed doors, because you saw in the arena when they in Boston where the Sixth Invitational was held, when they dropped the trailer and they showed Siege X and they showed what it was going to be and they were talking about it. Everyone was enamored, right? The chats were going crazy because it was live streamed. Social media was blowing up. And then they said they've got a 3-hour showcase coming in March because they can't possibly just release a trailer to show what this is. Creators have had their hands on it. Pro players have had their hands on it already. And everyone is saying that, like, you're not ready for this. This is like the next generation of Rainbow Six Siege, which they have said should usher in, very passionate about all this. They said this should usher in the next 10 years of Rainbow Six, which means that by the time that's done and dusted, the game would have been going for 20 years. And at the moment, I think it's really fair to say that it's only getting better after a decade. And how rare is that? The esports scene is getting more popular, the viewership's going up, the value's going up, and the game itself is just constantly getting expanded, new operators, maps, modes, events. It's crazy. It's crazy.
With Rainbow Six specifically, like, I got Rainbow Six, like the series. My first experience was Rainbow Six 3. Then I played, Rainbow Six Vegas and everything like that.
You said New Vegas. That's a Fallout.
I did say New Vegas. That's Fallout. Yell at me. But I played Siege for the first year and a half. And my biggest problem with pretty much all online multiplayer shooters, a lot of multiplayer games in general, is just how meta they become. And it gets really frustrating as someone who hates playing meta, because I like to try different things. I don't like, otherwise I get bored. If I'm playing a game, I do like my comfort and repetition with certain things, but when it comes to games and online, I like to try things different. I don't like to load up and play the same way with the same characters every time I play. But it seemed like unless you were going with the meta, you were kind of, you were dealing with, jackass teammates who just want to attack you. But that's in every game. This isn't like a poo-poo on Rainbow Six type of an idea. That's every online game.
Yeah.
But this 3-hour presentation I'm going to watch. Probably not live, but I'm going to watch. I want to know what it would do to bring in the lapsed fan who maybe hasn't touched Rainbow Six in 8 years.
Yeah, like what's,
because I was really into it. I was really into it, and then it just became way too meta. I kept dealing with too many toxic people. My friend, and then the group I played with, it was like we slowly were just like, let's go play something else. It got not boring. I will never say the game is boring. It just got not fun to play.
It's kind of the same thing with like Call of Duty, because I'm a big COD esports guy. I'm literally wearing a Call of Duty esports t-shirt right now. And And it's the same thing. The Call of Duty League, which is the premier esports tournament in that space, focuses on a 2-gun meta. You're allowed an SMG or an AR, and that's it. It's just you flip between the two, and that has obviously bled into the multiplayer, especially like ranked play, for example, where everyone is just using more or less these same 2 guns, and that's basically it. And eventually, it becomes a point where it just gets very like. You get very, what's the word? It gets ring fenced. You know, you feel weird using something different, especially if you're playing competitively, because you know you're going to get looked down on or something. But it gets really tight. Right now, they're even like certain attachments are being like scrutinized, like, oh, this barrel, we're not allowed to use this barrel because it's too OP or something, and they get right into the nitty gritty of it. That I hate that, because I'm like you, Mike. I have 10 classes in Black Ops 6, and every single one of them is a different gun. And I'll be playing, oh, I'm not doing too good, new gun. Playing, oh, okay, I'm not playing to my best, new gun. You know, that's how I play.
This goes back to the point you made about it never got out, right? The excitement, the surprise. Granted, I know that's what we do here. I know that's just part of the nature of the beast. But is there something, and AP, I'll start with you on that. Is there something when it comes to getting that genuine surprise or reaction to an announcement that kind of maybe makes it seem better than what it actually is?
It can, I think, Mike. Yeah, I feel like it can get, kind of generate a little bit more hype because the audience totally didn't expect it coming, and it's a complete blindside. All of a sudden, boom! Hey, guess what? Rainbow Six Siege 10X, going to be dropping. And it's such a big deal because, fans just totally didn't expect anything like this coming. No rumors, no insider information on it, nothing. So when information like that ends up coming out at a briefing like this, it's just tremendous. This kind of information is huge, I think.
And I think
what do you think, Grant?
Yeah, I mean, you could argue, now they said it's another 10 years, you could argue this is like a midlife refresh. We have that. We have that with hardware and all kinds of things. And I think games need to have that more, especially these live service titles like Counter-Strike.
You mean they shouldn't get dumped after 5 months?
I don't even mean that. I mean, like League of Legends, for example. I think I'm not a player, so people can say what they want about me for saying this, but I think League has mostly remained the same since it came out a decade ago or more. More than a decade ago. Give or take. And something like that. They haven't turned around and said, oh, we're doing like League 2.0 or whatever, because you can argue if it's not broke, right? But like Counter-Strike, CSGO, they released CS2, which is basically CSGO, but better. Well, that could be argued. But I mean, the viewership and the player count and everything is a testament to the fact that it probably is better. Like Cyberpunk, for example, Cyberpunk 2077, they come around, they say this update we're putting out now is so major, we might as well call it Cyberpunk 2.0. And people come flooding back to the game. It hits a new all-time high on some platforms, and it stays there. And I think so many more games need to do that. Like we talk about, I did an article a while back, and it was about Steam now putting in a little prompt that lets you know when the last update was made to an early access game. And I think it's kind of similar with that too. Like if you pick up a multiplayer shooter after like 10 years, you want to know what's happened in that life cycle for it to like. We did an article again. I keep flipping back to this esports thing, but we said, how and why is Siege still relevant after a decade? And it's because they do things like this. Ubisoft, for their flaws, we won't talk about that right now, but they are absolutely diehard about making sure Rainbow Six is constantly updated. There is a pipeline of content flooding into it. They're constantly looking at anti-cheat, matchmaking improvements. They're looking at network stability, and that's, take it as an example. Anyone that's running a live service shooter, take that as an example. Do a big midlife refresh and make everyone come flooding back to your game.
I'm excited. I just basically at this point I want to just get to the 13th and see what exactly
it's all about.
Yeah, and see exactly.
Go to Atlanta, man. You get tickets. You can go see it. Go play it.
Go to Atlanta. Okay, I'm not gonna go to Atlanta. I would love to go to Atlanta, but not
for Rainbow Six. Maybe
not for Rainbow Six. If I go to Atlanta, it'd be this weekend because the NASCAR race is in Atlanta. Because I'm a good old American boy and I love my NASCAR. Anyway,
those cars going around and around and around.
You have no idea, dude. I got on a track once when I was like 17 years old. I already had liked it, but when I got on a track when I was like 17, blew me away with just how fast that actually is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I'm just, it's not IndyCar speed because I think I might have a heart attack if I ever went in an IndyCar and took a full lap.
Yeah,
But
it's
still,
like
going
200
around a
miles an hour.
track, they allow you, like I was able to go on like Charlotte Motor Speedway and go around at like 180 miles an hour or whatever. And holy cow,
Yeah,
it was
man.
one of the most exhilarating, like just forget bungee jumping or any of that or roller coasters. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All about that.
moving
Piston
on
Cup.
to topic number 2. Assassin's Creed is on the way. We are, as of recording, 1 month away, March 20th, 2025. And we had earlier this week, Tom Henderson threw up an exclusive. Ubisoft's confident that the game will release on the 20th. The review embargo lifts for those who are reviewing it on the 18th and of March, that is. And they're confident in just how this game is going to go after the 2 delays. Pre-orders, quote, are, they say, on pace with Odyssey, or just believe around there. As of the writing of the article, Shadows was around 300,000 pre-orders, and Odyssey hovered around 400 to 500,000 day one players. I get their confidence level, and there's another aspect of Assassin's Creed we'll get to in a minute, but I get their confidence level, but at the same time, is it true confidence or desperation confidence of, we need this to be what we think it is? Because if not, holy hell, Ubisoft has nothing. They got nothing. You look at their upcoming games, like they have the Heroes of Might and Magic Golden Era, which, yay me, I love that series, that franchise, everything about it, but that's not going to move. They got an Anno game, that's not going to move anything. Like, they need this to hit. So is it kind of this like desperation type of hope?
I don't think so. You know, I'm going to be guardedly optimistic. I think it's a mix of both, right? I think it's a mix of, they are now confident that they've got a good product. They haven't been shy about showing it off. You know, there's been so many dev diaries and trailers and things released because they've had the time to do that. They've really taken their time cooking this one. And I think at this point, yeah, they're going to be, I mean, who wouldn't be? Any company in the world that's launching a new product is going to be tentative about, you know, we want this to perform well, because why would you not? So you're going to be guarded about that. But at the same time, I think they feel like they've got something real nice on their hands because of everything leading up to it. For one thing, it's fan service, because the era that we're talking here, you know, feudal Japan, is one that players wanted for so long. They're giving it to them. I think they've done so many improvements to things that we've seen in the videos, like the kind of dual protagonist system, the mix of play styles that offers, the fluidity now that they've got in the parkour, new mechanics there as well. There's like a hideout base building mechanic, which I think that's always a hit with people, when you can get in and really customize your hideout, your base, your settlement. You know, people like that kind of thing. It's got meat on the bones. It's sizable. I'm assuming it's going to have a good roadmap. Did they announce the expansions for it yet? The post-launch expansions?
We only have one.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think one announced so far.
Yeah, so they usually do some good work there. Like the expansions for Assassin's Creed Valhalla were really good. They were sizable. They were chunky. And they did that with, you know, like Odyssey was really good. And they just pack on the lore, which is really nice. I think there was a rumor going around recently or something like that, where someone found a reference to something where, again, tying it in with the Odyssey point, there might be a crossover expansion featuring the lead from Odyssey coming into, because I don't know if you guys know about the backstory about how in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, oh man, the male character is called Alexios. Cassandra, that's her name. So whoever you play as in Odyssey, they seize the staff of, is it Hermes Trismegistus? I don't know the guy's name, man. It's some old dude from way back. He basically invented medicine or something, but they get this thing that lets them live forever, right? And they live like for thousands of years. And then because of that, they kind of retconned it that they can pop up wherever they want. So they're probably going to pop up in Shadow somewhere. But long story short, because I'm aware I'm absolutely rambling here, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I have really high hopes for it, but at the same time, they are kind of screwed if it doesn't pan out. You know, they're putting a lot of eggs in the basket with this one.
I feel like fantastic game in Ubisoft is an oxymoron.
I mean, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt with this one. I know their track record.
I can't. How do this is where we're going to argue. AP, I'll get to you in a second. I don't know how you can give them benefit of the doubt when everything they've done over the last Siege aside,
yeah,
everything they've done over the last decade has been trash.
We'll have to say.
I was trying to think of the word I wanted to say, and I'm just going to go with trash.
We'll have to say it's subjective. It is subjective. I mean, I know we could tussle over this all night, but it is subjective. I mean,
we'll carry this over to the Discord.
2017, Assassin's Creed Origins comes out, completely changes the formula, becomes one of the best-selling games in the series, and from there, like Mirage, for example, completely turned heads because it was a change up to the formula that had been established for years, smaller format thing, but it sold really well and people were surprised and they thought, wow, this is really good. Assassin's Creed could be coming back. These guys are cooking again now. And I think that's something to talk about as well. They're doing live service well with Rainbow Six. And I'm hoping they're taking so long to deliver on some stuff like Far Cry, for example, because whatever's coming is going to be genuinely really good. So I know I've been hurt. I've been hurt before, but
I know that's what's the weird part about it. You're like the jilted lover that just can't let go.
I've healed, and I'm ready to be hurt again, but I'm hoping for good things with Shadows, man.
Hurt me more. That's what the ninja said in Metal Gear. Hurt me more. Remember?
And I'm paying him for it too. I'm paying him for it. Man.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. It's like you said, Grant. It's like a combination of both. I would love to see this game do well. Who wouldn't? Like I said, they're one of my favorite publishers. I want to see this game do well, but man, I'm definitely very cautiously optimistic on this.
See, I'm at the expect the worst, hope for the best. That's kind of where I am. That's where I am with a lot of AAA games, though, at this point in my life. Mm-hmm. Expect the worst, just because we've seen too many times we've been burned as fans, especially with how much we're spending,
Yeah, our expectations are so high, too,
Not from Spider-Man. Zendaya's character, MJ, isn't she like expect disappointment and you can't be disappointed or something? See? Maybe something like that.
I think so.
That's what we do.
Yeah, you just anticipate it. It's always weird. I've always, since I've got into this industry, so I'm now 15, 16 years in to this. Holy crap. Started when I was 19. So I'm 16 years into this. I have hit that. It took me like 3 years to hit that mindset of I expect the worst and I hope for the best with every major game that comes out. And more often than not, I get surprised. Like with indie games, I usually get pleasantly surprised by at least a dozen or so indie games throughout the year. Major games, it's like one or two. I got my hopes really, really high. I went against all of my beliefs and I got my hopes really, really high with Avowed. So I'm hoping when I fully dive into that game, it wasn't for naught. And I have avoided all reviews. I have avoided all the jackass grifters who just want to whine and complain and look for little reasons to lose their mind over everything.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go in and just, aside from everything we've covered, I'm going to go in and I'm going to play and try and see what I can get out of it.
Yeah.
Sasha, you talked about Ubisoft being your favorite AP. That's where I am with Obsidian.
Yeah. Okay.
Obsidian as a whole, I love that studio. They did. It makes me sad that they were gobbled up by Microsoft and Xbox Game Studios, because when they announced the recent South Park game and it's South Park Snow Day, and knowing it wasn't going to be an Obsidian game after the last two South Park games were made by they were fantastic, and knowing it wasn't going to be another Obsidian South Park game made me really sad about it. So Obsidian is that studio to me. So at the end of the day is we hope that Ubisoft has things well with Assassin's Creed, and we'll see what comes of it. But we can't sit here and just dwell on it. We'll just wait until a month comes out and we're all playing. Well, you guys are playing it. I probably won't. Unless it gets a glowing recommendation. If it comes back and the two of y'all come in and go, play this game, I might have to, not buy the game still, because I can't justify $70 on a game I may or may not like. Anyway, moving on. It's time. I didn't know if I wanted to do this discussion, but I think we need to because I see it all the time with comments on YouTube videos, on social media, even on our articles. Every time there's a game coming out, everybody seems to want to focus on what it looks like rather than maybe how it plays. Granted, you can only go based on what they tell you are the features in the gameplay and what you see. And the visuals are what you see. But it seems so many people nowadays, over the last, 5 years plus, if not longer, seem to focus on graphics as the be-all, end-all of what makes a game good. So the question I'm going to pose here, and we're not going to spend too much time on it because we could do probably a full hour on it if we really wanted, is do people put too much stock into graphics regarding what they find to be a good game?
I think they do. You know what? What I think is happening here is people have really high expectations of the capabilities of technology, and people have this vision of this like de facto standard set by certain bar setters, like I don't know, like Naughty Dog, for example, with The Last of Us, with its like stupidly accurate minutiae of details and physics, and everything looks like it's an absolute movie. So I think people see something like that and they think, well, if they can do it, why can't X indie studio down here with like 100K budget or something, you know? And I think that skews it a little bit as well. Like the same thing. It blows my mind. Some people want to say it just to say it. I uploaded loads of content for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is such a gorgeous game. And the amount of people that are like, oh, this looks like an Xbox 360 game. The graphics of this look terrible. And I don't even fathom how they're doing that. And the funny thing is, if you look back historically, Xbox 360 era, people would be looking at a game there going, oh, this looks like a PS2 game. This looks terrible. And the cycle just continues every time. I think it comes down to that. I think there's a massive retro market. I love my old games. I'm sure loads of you guys, we love retro games. We don't not play them just because they don't look good anymore. And like my world, esports, I know so many people, I know all people, like everyone in that market sacrifices visual clarity for performance. So that's a great example. You know, games don't have to look good to be like good competitively as well. I don't know. I mean, where does it end? What are they expecting? Where is it going to reach a point where it can't get any better? Like Forza Horizon 5. I mean, you guys love, you know, Mike especially love your racing games, right? But Forza Horizon 5, I was tricking people at work saying, look at this picture of this, you know, Audi and whatever. And then you say, this is a video game. And they're like, oh, no way. You know, is it going to get to a point where we're like, we can't differentiate anymore? And then will people be happy then? Probably not, you know. It gets my goat. Albert, I want to hear what you think. Gets my goat, man.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Like, it's a very narrow-minded viewpoint, you know. Whenever I play a video game, if it gives me a great story, man, I'm locked in. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be like these outstanding, mind-blowing graphics. Like, we'll eventually get there. You have other games that'll give that for you, right? A game doesn't necessarily have to have these mind-blowing graphics. If it gives you a good story that'll lock you in, and I'm talking locked the F in, man. Like, I'm good. Like, I don't necessarily need to have these insane graphics to lock me into a game, you know? If it looks good, that's just an added bonus for me, you know? But this whole narrow-minded view of just having to have great graphics in order to enjoy a game, I mean, to me, that just sounds very naive and just pointless and senseless to me. I don't know.
Where I come in this argument is I agree 100% that players put too much stock into it because you brought up, oh, it looks like PS2 games. I see this now. Obviously, I'm big into the sports games. For a long time, I exclusively covered sports games, and indie football games would come out and people would go, well, it looks like a PlayStation game. Why doesn't it look like Madden? It's not gonna. $1 billion game versus one guy. There is a game being made by two people I remember covering, and they're like, why doesn't it look like something from late PS1, early PS2? Good. Like, does it play fun? Does it have features? Yeah. And that type of argument bothers me. And on a different side, I feel studios are putting way too much emphasis on the visual fidelity of their games that it takes away from the quality of their games overall. And I'm going to go right to the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest, I don't even know the term I want to use. Culprit. Yeah. EA and that damn Frostbite engine. To this day, I don't care. People might hate Bethesda and for all the bugs that you get from Skyrim and all that. Doesn't matter. The gameplay was still fun. The Crytek engine, everybody might look at all these different things. The Frostbite engine, to me, is the worst AAA gaming engine I've ever seen developed because it is solely focused on the visual fidelity and lighting and all this other stuff that it killed. It's not a coincidence in my mind that their biggest franchises started to go downhill when Frostbite became the engine to use. I'll look at EA Sports products, for example. They had the Ignite engine. The games, when they were on the Ignite engine, which became before Frostbite, people were, kind of sad. Things were starting to get stale. They wanted more. And then they went to Frostbite and things just fell off. Everything was focused on, you can see the sweat on a player's face. Dude, they're wearing football helmets. I don't care about seeing sweat in Madden. But that's what they want to highlight rather than, making the gameplay not glitchy. And I remember doing this whole, years ago in a dive into it. Frostbite was made for first-person shooters. Poorly, I might add. But it was made for games like Battlefield. Then EA decided we want one universal engine. And I still think Frostbite has ruined FIFA, FC, whatever you want to call it. It's now in the NHL series, and NHL this year is the worst playing NHL game probably of the last 25 years. Madden continues to sell and make a boatload of money because of Ultimate Team. Players do not like the gameplay. Looks great, but that's not what football fans really care about. And then you look at other games.
Mass Effect and Dragon Age on Frostbite?
I don't believe...
Because they would be great arguments for the whole downhill thing.
Yeah. I don't believe Dragon Age, Veilguard. It might be.
Andromeda was on Frostbite. Yeah,
Andromeda was. I knew that.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
And you saw all the bugs. The
Veilguard's on
T-poses and
Frostbite.
all that.
Yeah,
Veilguard is on Frostbite. Anthem.
More evidence, man.
Anthem looked great. Played terrible. Frostbite. I don't even want to say it played terrible. Anthem, if it was like the tech demo when you want to sell the game, it was fine. It's just it had nothing to do.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's a victim. The games become victims of the engine. And I think studios know, creative directors and whatever, and art, they know people are going to look at the game first and make their decision. They're going to judge the book by the cover every single time now. And it is absolutely, in my mind, killing AAA games. That's why you look at, I keep going back to indie games. I'm going to keep harking on it. Animal Well. Visually, it's not a 10 out of 10 visual game. It's like an 8 out of 10, but they focus more on the gameplay. Undertale, the most crude character designs ever. Like for a game that did that successful. Five Nights at Freddy's became huge because the gameplay was entertaining and unique and the visuals were just added. All of these games, every single time. I mean, no one played Ocarina of Time back in the 90s because it looked good. Even in the 90s, if you go and read reviews, there are many reviews that say because of the N64's limitation with visuals, everything just remained blocky. Mario 64 kind of did it the best when it comes to visuals on that console, but the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask were blocky in general. But the game was so fun, gameplay-wise and feature, that it didn't matter. And over the last 10, 15 years, we've just gotten away from it. And I don't know what studios have to do to realize to kind of reverse course here or what, but something's got to change.
Yeah. I mean, I still play a game. I play an MMORPG. They came out in 1997, right? I think it's if not it's one of the oldest currently running MMOs. I think there's a couple up there that might beat it by a couple of years. And it has never really changed. It has this kind of top-down kind of perspective, and everything's a bit it doesn't look good. It's called Tibia, if you want to look it up, right? Tibia, like the bone. And it's genuinely, I've been playing it since I was 10 years old. It's never evolved, and I've never cared. And anyone that comes in and starts playing it now will probably look at it and go, this is a bit weird. But it's free to play. It runs on absolutely anything. And the guys they're still bringing out new stuff for it, even after all these years, because there's still a player base and they still love it. And that's a perfect example. But I think what you do need to look at in this argument as well, like two things. One, you're talking about the engine stuff. I think it's funny how these days everyone just jumps on the UE5 bandwagon saying like, oh, it's such a talking point. It's built in UE5. It looks incredible. And it's like, these things are just like, they're just showcases. You see these games, it's just a showcase in UE5, and it's like there's no depth or density to it. It's just, it looks pretty, but there's nothing you can do. So I was thinking about like when a game comes out and it both looks good and plays great, and that's like the golden egg, the golden egg, is that the thing? I don't know, that's the thing. So like I'll go back to Kingdom Come. That's built in the Crytek engine, CryEngine, whatever they call it. And it's far and away from the things that people prefer to use these days, like we talk about UE5, and it looks incredible, and it's also a fantastic game. And in that situation, I think it's fine to look at it and say, like, you care about the visuals in that, because it's, I don't know, I feel like if an open world RPG has really nice visuals, you just get immersed a lot better. And it's, like Avowed, for example.
Yeah.
Avowed is, it looks really, really good. Like there's just something about it. It's got this really nice cozy color palette, and the visuals are great, and the draw distance is really impressive, and things like that. So like, I will take good graphics any day of the week. I'm in the boat with you guys. If the game isn't substantial enough, then good graphics be damned. I don't. It's not going to keep me on. I'm not going to keep playing a game I don't like just because it looks pretty. And this is coming from someone who absolutely adores photo mode. If you go on my Twitter or my Instagram, all you're going to see is streams of photo mode. If a game has, really nice visuals, I will spend so long finding out the best shots, the best angles, the best filters. So I do sit in the boat where I will always appreciate a beautiful game, but only if there's substance to that style,
That's fair. Yeah.
All right. Like I said, we can get stuck on this forever, but we have to move on. We're going to move on before we get to the returning Gong Lord, who is still sick from his time at DICE, but he will join us, Tom Henderson, momentarily. We need to move on to trivia. We're bringing that back. Last week we talked about games that we wish we could play again. This week we're back to trivia, where AP is leading the way at 3/4 of a point because of the Inky Blinky Dot and Clyde question.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
But now we're coming. I got one that I hope that you guys should get. And a lot of my trivia stems from the newsletter, the Did You Know section of the Insider Gaming newsletter, which you can subscribe to. It releases every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, right directly to your inbox. Exclusive columns, the recap of the latest news, latest esports news, upcoming game releases. We're working on a new design for it to make it simpler for every email client, mobile, desktop, whatever you may use. Insider-gaming.com/subscribe there. It's free. And you should join the over 40,000 people who are subscribed to that newsletter. The fact that this newsletter has been going on only really weekly since August, and we have grown it from nothing to over 40,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to everybody
That's
who does that. And it allows me most every week to point some opinion on what I have in my mind and why things are going to hell. And then we do drop exclusives every now and then. Last week it was more details on the Madden and EA license and NFL license. But trivia time. We're going to start with AP. Since you're the leader, you get to ask the first question.
Ooh, yay. All right, I like that. Okay, guys, you ready? So, the Nintendo 64, it launched on September 29th, 19... Oh, Grant's gone. Grant's gone, guys. If you're not watching on YouTube, Grant just walked off.
Oh, man. Okay, let's have it. N64.
So, launched September 29th, 1996. There were 2 games that launched alongside it. Name those 2 games.
Oh. And we're launched in the United States,
Correct.
Right? In North America, because Japan, I think, came out earlier that year. What game?
It did, yeah.
Mario.
Mario
Taxi.
64. Mario 64 would be the first one.
Not
So
Crazy
we got one.
Taxi.
Why would it be Crazy Taxi? That was Sega, wasn't it?
Yeah.
1996.
Yeah, you
Oh,
you guys definitely got Mario. What's the second one though?
Metroid.
No, it wasn't Metroid.
I'm just
No,
naming
wasn't-
Nintendo
It
franchises
wasn't
right now.
GoldenEye, because GoldenEye was 97.
Mhm.
Is it
Oh,
like
man.
a big, you would associate this unequivocally with Nintendo kind of title, or is it something that's a bit more like edge case?
It's definitely a Nintendo title, not a very popular Nintendo title, but
Okay,
yeah.
I have one, but I think it might have been a different region's launch title. Was it Turok?
Was not Turok, no. Nope.
I got.
So
I
it
would have
was
Mario.
so
Yeah,
it was
I
Pilot
Mario
Wings.
Son
Pilot
of a-
Wings
oh.
64. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never heard of
So
that one.
and it was also going to be Cruis'n USA. It was also going to
Great
be part
game.
of that lineup. Yeah, but it actually was pulled because it didn't meet the Nintendo official seal of quality standards
Ooh.
at launch
But
time.
they were cool with
so.
putting it in the arcades in an N64.
Right.
They used N64 hardware for the arcade cabinet for Cruis'n USA. Grant, what do you got? So we each get half a point. We're on the board.
There you go. There you go.
So I have two, and the thing is here, you guys get to pick which vibe you want this week, right?
Oh.
In keeping with the news, you can have an Assassin's Creed one. Or for something that appeals to you guys directly, you can take a question about Legend of Zelda.
I'll do Zelda all day.
Zelda. Yeah.
You want the Zelda one? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, this is going deep. In the beta version of The Legend of Zelda, the player enters the first cave, and instead of being offered a sword, like in the finished game, they're offered a sword and something else. What is it that they were offered alongside the sword?
In the beta of the first.
Beta. Damn. Going in, bro. This is a total shot in the dark, but I'm
Get
gonna
off Google,
guess-
Mike.
Oh, I'm not. I'm replying. I have no idea.
I'm gonna guess a shield because that makes the most sense.
It makes the most sense, but you know what? A potion.
Do you know what? I'll give you guys a second go because neither of you are right. It is something that you really, really would not assume would be an option. It's a weapon of some kind.
Oh, it's a
Is
weapon.
it a weapon
Okay.
that exists?
They just give
in
you the
game?
Triforce at the beginning of the game.
I don't know if it exists in the game. I don't know if it exists in the game. I have no idea. But it's
that's
something
right.
that
Yeah,
you wouldn't think of this as even being like a weapon. I don't even think it's been a weapon
mace.
in any game.
Is it a mace?
Nope.
Damn.
Boomerang?
AP,
Boomerang.
AP's got it. It's a boomerang.
Bro, let's go. Bro,
it's a
let's go.
sword
Come on.
or a boomerang. AP's
You know,
got
I
it.
kind of wish that would have been kept. I wish that would have been kept.
There you go. Little tidbit.
Nice.
All right, mine again comes from a did you know of the newsletter because I got a bunch of them, and we're gonna keep finding out how much my cohorts read the hard
Here we
work
go.
I put in every week,
Oh, here we go.
finding these
Oh.
facts and putting them in the newsletter. We're sticking with Nintendo themed, I guess, this week. Pokemon Gold and Silver.
No.
The Goldenrod City Gym, from the top-down view, is shaped like a Pokemon. What Pokemon is it?
Clefairy.
Maybe. You got a guess?
Pikachu.
It is Clefairy.
Oh, nice.
Come on.
He wanted to drop an
Okay,
F-bomb.
I did. There's no way, man. You know what? I saw that somewhere. It might have been in the newsletter. I saw that somewhere.
It's
Look at
it
me.
was in the newsletter, I think 2 weeks ago is when I had it.
Pokemon, Nintendo. Look at me, man. Mario.
And now we're going to move on to everybody's favorite segment. He wasn't here last week because he was too busy in Las Vegas, but it's the return of the Gong Lord himself of Insider Gaming. He's joining us sick. Tom Henderson. Tom, thank you for getting off your deathbed. And we hope we didn't cause more headaches and more problems as you recover.
sorry. Yeah, I'm doing well. I've been trying to survive these past few days. But yeah, Dice, man, Vegas, what a place. I don't know if any of you guys have been before, but
It's been a
that is a
decade.
place.
I haven't been to
Oh,
Vegas.
Grant's
yet.
definitely. Grant's definitely not been. So
Why have I definitely not been?
because you've not been to the US, you've told
Oh
me this
yeah, that's a
before.
good point. Yeah.
But yeah, like what an event, man. Definitely one of the more eye-opening trips that I've had. Just from the simple things, from overhearing people talking about the industry and seeing certain people walk around and having interviews and all of that good stuff. It was definitely a really valued trip. I don't know if it was worth getting sick over, but um, yeah, good trip. The optimism now for the industry is definitely back, and fingers crossed. Over the next few years, we're going to see the results of that optimism when it comes to being creative and all of the new technology coming out and all of that good stuff. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes from it in the next few years.
When you say optimism, in
Mhm.
what way? Because obviously this industry, we've dealt with these layoffs. We continue to deal with these layoffs. Is it people think that's turning a corner? People think studios are going to start opening up to getting more creative or taking risks?
Yeah.
Like in which way?
Yeah. So I think, unfortunately, I think that there was a sense that the layoffs are going to continue. It's just unavoidable. I think we're still at that point. We're probably only halfway through that point of essentially like consolidation of the industry. But the past couple of years is forcing people to think a lot more outside of the box, rather than focusing on stuff that they think would work at the moment. It's more so like now going towards the direction of setting trends rather than chasing them, which is something that Ubisoft has done right for the past 5 or 6 years, and it hasn't panned out. But now more so, the entire industry is leaning towards that creative side and using technology. Like, I mean, it's one of those buzzwords that a lot of developers don't like and stuff like that, but using AI for creative processes and being able to essentially also make development cheaper, right? I mean, you guys just talked about graphics and that kind of stuff, and that is one of those major issues at the moment that is just causing development costs to go out of control. I mean, I was speaking to someone over there who said like AAA development now is 300 million minimum for a game.
Jeez.
Oh my!
And then 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and by the time a game comes out,
Yeah.
the trend's dead. AKA what we saw with Concord.
Exactly. So when you're seeing games do a AAA game do 2 to 3 million in sales, that's only half of what they need to be to even break even.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So I think the industry is going to go towards more of a double A direction at the moment, with a lot more smaller games, kind of taking a lot more risks, which might not make sense saying that at the moment, but when you're making a risk with a game that costs 10 times less than a game where you're trying to chase a trend of live service or whatever it may be, it probably makes a lot more sense. But yeah, definitely one of those eye-opening events. Next month I'm going to GDC, which is in San Fran. Hopefully I don't get ill from that.
No, you won't get ill. You'll just go broke in San Francisco.
Yeah. I was looking at hotels
It's bad.
last night, and it's like I think it's $500 or $600 at the moment for a hotel.
Yeah, I can get a hotel in New York City cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, Vegas hotels were relatively cheap. I mean, obviously they're cheap because of the whole gambling stuff, and they don't really care about the rooms, what price they sell the rooms. It's more so getting you in the casino, right? And that's how they make the money. But yeah, I was surprised at how expensive it is over there in San Fran. But yeah, hopefully I don't get ill on the next one, and there's going to be a lot more good interviews to come from it at DICE. One of the bigger and more exciting talks I had was with someone who wrote the MMR system for Call of Duty. He's no longer at Activision. He left in 2020. And he's kind of now doing his own thing with his own development studio and implementing his algorithms into more live service games. But having that conversation with him, especially for someone who started off in Call of Duty, right? I'm going to mention this in the article, but a lot of people don't know that I started off on this weird journalism journey as a Call of Duty YouTuber doing high kill, low death gameplay. I think my best was 191 kills to 0 deaths, if anyone can top it. But but yeah, Grant's like,
How
That was a slay flex.
how many consoles did you have running at the time of?
back then it was only one.
Oh,
Because,
okay. Like back then, it was only one.
yeah. That was the 191 was in Black Ops 2, and back then the skill-based matchmaking system was very easy to overcome. You just join someone's session, and it was all based on. It was like, I mean, we'll get into that. Stop! I'm not going to spoil it here.
Spoil it.
But the algorithms changed a lot.
Oh, yeah, man.
Now it's just awful.
That's just punishing.
Yeah. No, it's awful. Black Ops 6 I played for. I think I would say since 2019, which was Modern Warfare, I believe.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
Like since then, the algorithm of skill-based matchmaking changed pretty drastically, and I just found myself playing less and less and less, and now. It's like with the recent one, I won't even wait till the Christmas noobs come in because you can't match with them because of skill-based matchmaking, which is so strong. So
it's
yeah.
I hate the fact that I've had games where the last time I loaded it up, my first game I went, I think 2-30. Not good. I'm bad. Admittedly, I'm bad. My second game, I went like 26-20, and then it put me right back into a lobby where I went like 4-41. I'm just like, this is like, why am I have thousands of other games in my catalog that I could spend my time with. I'm not going to waste it here.
Where's the balance, bro? Yeah.
Yeah. You'll have to tune in to insidergaming.com for all of those answers. But apart from that, listening to the I mean, we've said this every week, right? But a lot of people don't know this, but I listen to the podcast behind the scenes as you guys are talking. I'm like lurking in the shadows, waiting for the gong to hit. But I felt personally attacked by you guys, specifically Grant and Albert.
What did I do?
You called me out for not leaking Rainbow Six Siege X. Rainbow Six Siege X.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean that whole stuff was interesting, right? How I think somebody did leak it, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a small channel on Twitter said that it was a thing or something like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that, and I think it's not only going to set the bar for Rainbow Six Siege, but I think there's a few other games that might be coming to the Rainbow Six franchise very soon. But maybe you'll have to wait.
Yeah.
You'll see. I think you've put me under pressure now. Where I need to give the people what they want.
Like I said, they were.
Well, give us. What about Battlefield, Tom? No.
Oh, no. We're not doing that.
Man.
You said give the people what they want and what they need. Forget cowbell.
I think I get 50 messages and DMs a day on Battlefield.
That's how I am with. Hey, do you know anything about college basketball games coming out or NFL 2K? It's like
it's crazy.
They're talking.
I mean,
like, I don't know what else. There's nothing new.
Yeah.
When there's something new, we'll post it publicly. I'm not gonna. This is for everybody. Exactly. Tom, you could probably chime in too. We're not going to give it in a DM to somebody who messages us asking.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few reasons for that, and this was always the concern with the podcast, right? Is like, unless we report on it on the website, then we haven't done the due diligence and the corroboration and all of that good stuff that is required in order to make a report. Anything that we say on the podcast or even a tweet occasionally should always be taken with a more larger quantity of salt than anything that we put on the website. because we just haven't done that. The appropriate processes to ensure that the information we're putting out there is legitimate, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting week apart from dying. Behind the scenes at Inside the Gaming, we're doing a lot of. I think we're now entering like a creative stage, right?
Definitely.
Where we've done all of the hard work. I tweeted this out a couple of days ago that we're now thinking of doing an Insider Gaming esports tournament. We're also floating some ideas around maybe doing a physical magazine and some other good stuff behind the scenes. So I'm really excited to
with
see.
demo USB drives.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Do it.
You know what? I'll send one. I'll put a demo. I'll get a studio to give us a demo. I'll put it on one USB drive, and one lucky subscriber will get it.
Oh, like a golden ticket.
Yes, we'll be
Oh, I
Wonka.
like
You don't get
that.
anything but a chance to play a demo
I
that you
like
could probably
that
download
idea.
on Steam.
It's like Electronic Gaming Monthly
But yeah.
back in the day.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
thing is, Tom posted it, and one of the very first replies was, "Hey, demo discs."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's feasible in today's market. Maybe there's a way we can do game codes and stuff. It doesn't have the same ring to it, though, right? But the process for us now in these next couple of weeks is figuring out how we can get people over to buy the magazine, basically. So excited to get going on that.
So what you're saying is everybody should stick on insidergaming.com for the latest and follow us on social for all the updates on everything.
Indeed. And if you've got any ideas of a physical gaming magazine, maybe we should start a thread on the forums. Head over to the forums and let us know, because at the moment we're exploring all and any options. Aiming for about 100 pages in the magazine for those curious.
Jeez. That's a compendium.
It's a compendium of the greatest gaming journalism that we have to offer.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is it's going to be quarterly magazine. It's not going to be monthly. Monthly's just not doable. Yeah. We'll probably get it printed in China just based on costs. And then you've got 45, 55-day shipment to get it over to the US and UK and all of that stuff. So logistically, it's probably going to be like more interviews, more exclusives, maybe some word games in there. And then obviously we've got all of the good stuff on the website that we can easily port over and stuff like that.
Get the funny pages, man. Get some webcomic writers to give us some gaming related stuff. We can have the funny pages.
Oh, that would be fun too. Puzzles, there's so much.
Yeah,
I love it. I love how the podcast has turned into like an ideation.
And people are gonna be like, "This isn't what we tuned in for, but this is what you get." You're never gonna get the same thing every week. You get the same kind of segments, but we go completely off the cuff.
High value stuff. This is good.
Yes, sir.
It's called Insider Gaming. You know, you guys are getting the insider look at Insider Game.
I see what you did there. Tom, is there anything coming up that you are, I don't know, digging into that people should maybe keep an eye out for, or anything of that nature after your trip in Dice and you get over being, halfway dead?
Yeah, probably. I mean, the more exciting one for me, like I said, is the one on the skill-based matchmaking. I mean, don't expect a lot of like nitty-gritty details on why it was invented and all of that stuff, because we know why, right? It's to boost player engagement. The white paper that Activision released to everyone that I speak to is accurate. They're not like pulling the wool over anyone's eye or anything like that. At the end of the day, skill-based matchmaking and MMR works. It boosts player engagement, and ultimately, as a live service game, that's what people want. Well, that's what the publishers want to increase revenue. Apart from that, maybe I will have something on Rainbow Six in the coming weeks. Trying to finalize some stuff on that, and then maybe I'll do like a roundup in the newsletter or something on like the key takeaways from Dice. That would be more for the readers that are more interested in the business side. But I just thought it was a pretty interesting event with a lot of really interesting people. it was one of those weird situations where as like someone who's known as a like an arsehole,
A troublemaker.
a leaker, a troublemaker. Like I was just sat at some tables and like behind me there was like a group of developers pitching a game to a publisher and like showing screenshots on the laptop and stuff, and I'm like turning around, I'm like, ooh. But
that's the benefit of no one knowing your face.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I was wearing a balaclava all around.
Oh, okay.
But,
A nice purple one.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just interesting and just seeing the industry in that way was very eye opening. Had a lot of really thoughtful conversations with PR as well about the current climate of the media industry that covers games, because as everyone's probably aware, it's going through a tough time as well. Probably more so than the development side, because we've pretty much lost everyone on the gaming media side.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse, right? Like if you look at the traffic of any website and you look at the people they're hiring, you start to wonder how the heck people are surviving, to be honest. So yeah, maybe that's a conversation for a later time, a more in-depth conversation. But yeah, really cool event, and hopefully we get more of us out there next year and at GDC and just getting the team out there to more of these events, because it's just cool to get that insight.
This year it's already a packed year. I mean, it's the first year we've really been doing this, and it's packed. You had DICE, you got GDC, there's PAX, there's Gamescom, there's Summer Games Fest, and our goal is to be at every single one of them. So
yeah, I think because all of us are going out to Gamescom, right? I don't know if Albert, you'll be making it. I can't remember if you said you will or not.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one that's not going to be able to, unfortunately. Yeah.
Boo.
I know.
all right, I'm going to drive the 4 hours south and kidnap AK.
But yeah, I think Gamescom would be a really cool event to do something cool for the community as well. Like if we're all wearing purple hoodies or something like that, and they come up to us and maybe we've got something to give them or something.
Stickers, man.
I don't know, but yeah, stickers or I don't know, like
shiny ones.
Balaclavas, purple ballies, or
it's like Where's Waldo, but Insider Gaming Edition. Spot the triangle.
Yeah, or maybe at that point the magazine's out and we're giving away magazines.
Giving away demo discs.
Yeah. Just make sure you don't take them make sure you don't take them in your suitcase and lose them this time, Tom.
All right, well, on that note,
study my business card.
See you all next week.
And they're gone. He's gone. And it hits and poof, just like that, Tom's gone. I'm going to use that reference from Big Mouth as many opportunities as I can during this show. But with that, we need to start wrapping it up on our own.
Yeah, man.
It's been fun. We got a big off the cuff discussion here. And like I said, these shows, we see so many of them. You see so many shows that go for like 3 hours. We could easily fill 3 hours of us just talking like that. No problem. But we respect your time enough to not go too far after an hour with these shows. So we're going to wrap it up on this week's edition of Insider Gaming Weekly, a video game podcast. Of course, you can get the latest episode wherever you get your shows, podcasts, anything, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Pocket Casts, Good Cast, wherever and however you'd like. Even Spotify has video. So if you won't even want to watch it on YouTube, you can watch us on Spotify. Follow Insider Gaming on social media at Insider Gaming IG on Twitter, at insider-gaming.com on Blue Sky, Insider Gaming IG on YouTube. You can follow me at Mike Straw Media. Grant, AP, we already know. I hope people are following you from this, but where can the people find you?
I mean, I need to change because I feel like I have to explain in new cov on everything with some variations. You can find me on Twitch, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, X, new cov, everywhere. That's me.
Love it. Love it. And for me, guys, if you want to become a member of the Wrap Up Squad, head on over to YouTube, youtube.com/@weeklywrapup. Check me out over there, as well as I'm also on X, Insta, the whole nine, at the Weekly Wrap Up. Also on Blue Sky at Albert Perkins. Check me out, guys.
And with that, it's time to sign off. AP, you're on the clock.
You know how we always roll here at Insider Gaming. For Mike, for Grant, for Tom, I am your host with the most A to the P, Albert Perkins, and we will see you on the inside.